Hello and welcome to the North Andover Journal, where we bring you all the latest North Andover news, events, and happenings. I'm your hometown host, Ron Carpenito. Come join us for a look around town. Well, our annual Veterans Day Parade and ceremony took place on Veterans Day, November 11th. We spoke to Patriotic Observance Committee Chair Dave Rubin about planning the event and this year's special guest speaker. We also heard from VFW member Richard McGrean and members of Scouts Troop 87 about what it meant to them to be a part of this event.
The one thing I have tried to do as a chair for the past probably almost 6 years at this point, we've tried to turn Veterans Day into a celebratory day because we really are honoring all those that have served. While Memorial Day, we keep a more solemn tone because we are remembering those who have lost their lives in service to their country. We kind of do the opposite with Veterans Day, and again, we want to make it a celebration of all those that have served. And it's just a real honor as a veteran to be able to give back to my community, to serve as the chair of the committee. I do hope that what they get out of today is a chance to honor those who have served. There are many families who maybe the current generation hasn't served, but there's grandfathers and uncles, aunts, and it's a time for them to be able to come out and honor the service of their family as well as the service of others in town.
You know, this doesn't happen in every town across America. I grew up as a military brat, and across Texas, across Virginia, across the U.S., and I didn't see things like this everywhere, so this is a really cool event. I really appreciate all the support, walking down the streets here, seeing kids and families wave their flags and saying thanks. It means a lot to me, and so I really appreciate the gratitude from the community, from the whole area. One
very special thing that we're excited about with today's ceremony is our keynote speaker is the Command Sergeant Major of the Massachusetts Army National Guard, Command Sergeant Major James Campbell Jr., and we are very honored to have him. We always try to do a tie-in to the town with our keynote speakers and our addresses. Memorial Day, for the past 2 years, we've talked about all the town's playgrounds and who they're named after and educating the town, and we've gotten some very positive comments about that. So what we'd like to do with Veterans Day is also keep that hometown connection. So the thing about Command Sergeant Major Campbell is that he is a North Andover High School graduate.
It's a big honor to be selected as the group to carry all the flags. You know, after all these veterans have done for our country, it feels like we're giving something back to them.
Yeah, and part of being a scout is being helpful and kind, and I think just giving back and helping when people need it is something that everyone should do.
On Thursday, November 14th, the Community Preservation Committee held a public meeting where they listened to residents on different proposals for projects around town. We spoke with CPC Chair William Callahan and CPC member Adam Bagney, who told us about how the committee functions and what they look for when deciding which projects to fund.
Yes, so there are 4 major areas that we fund. Open space, which is probably the easiest when we buy space to prevent it from being developed and keep it in its natural state. Recreation, which would be fields and playgrounds and things of that nature, the more active open space use. Historic preservation, which are preserving our historic assets, anything of notable historic significance. And then the fourth category is affordable housing. So working to protect and expand our stock of affordable housing in town.
For me, the number one thing I think I'm looking for is this project a good use of taxpayer funds? We want to make sure that whatever we fund, that Joe taxpayer thinks that this was a good use of my tax money. So that's the first and most important thing. But some of the guidelines include we want to make sure that these are projects that the community as a whole are going to benefit for. We want to make sure these are capital projects. They can't be like little improvement projects. They have to be sort of bigger one-time projects. And we also want to make sure that these are projects that are really going to benefit the community for a long term. These are not short-term type projects. We really want them to be things that folks can see. So it's important that the community, when they see a community preservation committee funded project, looks at it and says, that's a good use of my tax money.
We also got the opportunity to speak to Greg Landry and Steve Nugent about the project that they proposed to the Community Preservation Committee.
Well, we're really excited to propose the idea of redoing the tennis courts. It's been 21 years since they were done. It's become a relative safety issue, and I think a challenge to the players, both students and community members who come to play. So we're hoping to get those things resurfaced, soup to nuts really, and make it the best playing surface it can be.
People can access the tennis courts at pretty much, I know during the school day it's tough to get a parking spot over there, but they're not being used all the time. So they're open to both the public as well as our students that play for the tennis team. So we thought it was a no-brainer, especially where, as Greg said, we are teetering on whether or not we can actually use them, and we let it go another year. It could be at a point where we now have to send our teams out and deem the facility not playable. So we want to avoid that.
And finally, we heard about how the citizens of North Andover could submit a project to the Community Preservation Committee for funding.
This year we're still at the very beginning of the submission process, so people should know that we have a two-step process where people can submit a notice of intent at the end of November in 2 weeks that says basically this is a project that I would like to do, and then come before the committee for some Q&A. And then after that, they would submit a formal application by the end of January.
And it's also cool because everybody can participate. Anybody in town can come and bring forward a project, and as long as it's within the guidelines, we'll consider it and potentially fund it, so that's pretty cool.
On Saturday, November 23rd, North Andover High School hosted their first robotics tournament of the school year. The school hosted 51 teams from 10 different schools to compete for qualification in the state competition. We spoke with robotics and technology teacher Bennett Ahern and some of the robotics students to learn more.
My goal for this event is to, I don't want to say, because North Andover, as far as a program goes, we're well known and respected, but I wanted to put on a real show. I wanted to up the production value. I wanted to really put us on the map. I think we've done that, again, through the help of Cam and our fantastic volunteers. I think we managed to pull that off. But that is my goal, and it's my goal moving forward.
My favorite part of today has been assisting the coordinators and just doing smaller things to help them out. I really enjoy that. Our matches, they can be pretty stressful. I still enjoy them, but they're definitely very stressful when you're trying to, get high ranking.
We were also lucky enough to speak with one of the teams. Team 8568C gave us a demonstration on how their robot functions and gave us some of their thoughts about what they hope for the future of the robotics program at the high school.
Yeah, so first we have this mobile goal clamp. It just pretty simple moves down and clips into the mobile goal so that the intake can have discs come through here following all these wheels and just score on yeah, so the ring just comes through here, goes all the way up to the top, and scores on a mobile goal. We have this last part floating up so that the ring, because the mobile goals have a stiff part at the top that you need to push through. So this is there to push it down so it actually scores. And then we have this redirect system. So if the disc goes up, as it's going through, this lifts up, and then once you go far enough in, it falls back down. And so that allows us to reverse our intake into this little basket here, which goes up using these two pistons, and we can run into the wall stakes and score using that.
Yeah, and then we have a sensor right here to tell if this is going up, and then it breaches the sensor. This can detect it, and then it'll just send it back down. So it can go.
Yeah, and then talk about the Odom.
Yeah, so
we have these
two Odom pods. These are dead wheels. They pretty much don't have any motor attached to it or anything. What they do is just as we drive, they just spin, because if the field is here hitting the drive, it spins these. And then we can use the distance that these have traveled with these rotation sensors here to track the position of the robot on the field. So I think one of the things that we try to do this year is help the younger teams get better at doing stuff, so then they can start off better than how we started off.
Like, you know, we're in here all the time. We're always, like, everybody on the robotics team, we're always in here all the time. And we always, like, trying to help each other the best we can. Just so that, like, you know, we're in this place, we're at the place we're in now at our senior year. I hope that people can be in that same place in their freshman or sophomore years and be even better than us, and then the people that come after them can do the same.
I'm incredibly proud of them. I really am. The fact that we're 2 months into the season and every single team has a working robot, it's no small achievement for them to have done that. So they've all been working very hard.
Wreaths Across America is a national wreath-laying ceremony for fallen veterans that happens every year on December 14th. This year, North Andover's Ridgewood Cemetery will be joining in the event for the first time. We spoke with VFW Post 2104 coordinator Bill Dolan about the significance of this event and what that ceremony will look like for North Andover.
Hi, my name is Bill Dolan. I'm the VFW Post 2104 coordinator for the Wreaths Across America program this year. It's our first program, so we're looking forward to having people come on December 14th at 12 noon here at the Ridgewood Cemetery. Well, Wreaths Across America is a program that was started in the 90s. It started quite by accident. The Worcester Wreath Company in Central Falls, Maine, wound up with some extra wreaths, and at the time they contacted Senator Susan Collins, and she recommended that they take them down to Arlington National Cemetery. They put the wreaths in a little used part of the cemetery, and after that it snowed and somebody took a picture of the wreaths on the graves, and they're actually called veterans wreaths, not Christmas wreaths. And it went viral, and then today there's 4,700 communities in the country that perform this ceremony. There's 1,550 veterans buried in this cemetery, and the wreaths are $17 a piece. So to purchase all the wreaths, it would have been $26,000 plus, and of that, $17, $5 goes back to the Post 2104 to use for local veterans for whatever needs they may have. We're doing quite well. We may not reach the 1,500, but we have several checks to come. Today is November 18th, and we have over 300 wreaths, and I have about $5,000 in donations waiting to be processed. So we should be up around 700, some probably about halfway through what we expected. But it's the first year, and we do the best we can. It's very emotional. I think we asked that when the people get here, we'll give them instructions. It's a very brief ceremony. And after the ceremony, there'll be 8 ceremonial wreaths that they're put on easels in front of the flags in front of the veterans plot, and one for each branch of the service and one for POW MIA. Then we'll give instructions to people how to place the wreaths, and basically you take the wreath and you present it to the person in the grave by saying their name and saying whoever that name is, you're not forgotten, thank you for your service. And we're going to place the wreaths. They're not tied, they're not secured to the grave site. A lot of veterans have markers in the ground, don't actually have a stone. The cemetery, Scott Palumbo here, who's the manager of the grounds, has been very helpful. The board of directors here has been very helpful. The selectmen co-sponsored this, meaning they sanctioned the event. And we went to the Community Preservation Act, who's done a lot of the work on the cemetery, funded a lot of the fieldstone walkways and stuff. And it's a very moving event. We think people will appreciate it, and hopefully we can repeat it in the future.
The North Andover Police Department's Cram-A-Cruiser donation drive is now in its 5th year. We spoke to officers William Brush and Mark Wilson about the history of the event, how people can donate, and the special launch event that's happening during the Santa Parade.
We started in 2020 in the height of COVID. A lot of people were having trouble getting food. A lot of people lost jobs or couldn't work because of the pandemic. And Cram-A-Cruiser, other departments have done it, and I saw it, and we were talking one night and thought it'd be a good idea. So we went to the chief and asked him if we could start raising donations to provide people with food and personal care items that they probably couldn't get at this time. So we, the first year we did it up at the middle school and partnered with the town's own food pantry. And then the following years we started doing it down at Market Basket, getting the people coming and going in and out of Market Basket to help raise donations.
This year with Cram-A-Cruiser and Thanksgiving starting a week later than last year, we need 4 Saturdays before Christmas, so we're going to have the first day during our Santa Parade, and we're going to have the Merrimack Valley Food Pantry in the parade as one of the participants. What we're going to do is we're going to have officers collecting non-perishable goods along the route. If anyone can donate even a box of pasta or a jar of peanut butter, anything would be helpful, but we're going to put it right into the food pantry as the first kickoff day of the Cram-A-Cruiser.
We will be down at Market Basket in North Andover from 9 to noon on Saturday, December 7th, 14th, and 21st, and we'll be collecting donations there. And people can always drop off donations at the police department any time of day. There are people that need the help. I think the statistic is 1 in 6 people in America are food insecure. And even here in North Andover, there are people that are struggling. The economy, as bad as it is, people are having a hard time affording groceries, and we like to be able to help out wherever we can.
While we love putting this show together, it would not be possible without the help of residents like you. Do you know of any stories around town that deserve to be heard? If you do, please send them to us here at The Journal. Also, did you know that you can help create segments for this show, work behind the scenes in our control room, or get in front of the camera like me? Well, if you'd like to learn more, simply email us at thejournal@northandovercam.org, or simply give us a call at 978-687-6570. And from all of us here at The Journal and North Andover Cam, happy Thanksgiving. I'm your hometown host, Ron Carperdito, and thank you for watching.